Hello, my name is Grayson, and I am 25 years old. I live in San Antonio, Texas, and I am the creator of Kaldi Jones. I'm doing this now because I feel like I owe it to um, the readers, the people that were there every night, that were reading my tweets. Um, I feel like I owe it to them because I know that it's been, you know, months, going on a year that I haven't, blogged or written, and my tweets have been few and far between, and they really haven't been up to the standard that I held myself to in regards to writing and in regards to Caldy Jones. So I wanted to take this opportunity um, to close some doors and to provide some resolution to Caldi and who she is. I came up with Caldi Jones when I was working for Starbucks. I was employed with Starbucks from, I guess, early summer of 2006 until December of 2011. No, December of 2012 is when I completely severed ties. So about 6 years that I was working for the Siren. I called myself a slave to the Siren, uh, a phrase that Caldy Jones uses quite frequently. Uh, and so I came up with Caldy, I guess, in somewhere around 2010, 2011. The backstory of this was I had been working for Starbucks for a while, and I really needed an outlet. I needed a way to to make my day better, if that makes sense. Um, I I hated going home at the end of every night and feeling like my day was being wasted. Um, I have two advanced degrees. I have one in international politics and one in culinary arts. Uh, and I felt like I wasn't using either one of those to their greatest potential, or mine for that matter. Um, but I needed some type of creative outlet that would allow me to just really process what my day was like and the people I interacted with on a daily basis. I needed a way to compartmentalize them and make my world somehow seem less filled with stress and less, I think unhappy is the right word. I wanted to really bring humor into a situation that really, as I'm sure the readers and now the viewers uh, are aware, that there's a lot of times and very many days where you can't find humor in the job you found yourself in. So when I was working for a Starbucks in Austin, Texas, I thought to myself, okay, well, I'll start writing. And I started writing a book, and didn't have any direction where I was going. None of it made sense. I had gotten about 60 or 70 pages in, and it was going nowhere, and it was crap. And so I deleted everything from my computer, and I decided that I would start over. And so I started piecing together who this person was, who this protagonist was that I wanted to create in, I can't say my image, but in an image that I wanted to put out into the world. And so I started using Twitter as a way to really, I started using Twitter as a soundboard for what other like what other Starbucks employees thought was funny or thought was interesting and what they responded to. And from that, I was able to create a character that was kind of entitled, that was a little bitchy at times, that had a slicing wit, but was always funny. And at the very least, she was relatable a tiny bit. Uh, and so I named her Kaldi Jones. Kaldi, of course, after the famed Ethiopian goat herder of coffee history, which the Black Aprons know. And in fact, someone actually mentioned in a Dear Kaldi, uh, like that, she knew that that's where the name had come from, and I kind of had to, you know, backtrack a little bit to get out of that one. But I'm sure we all got it. Looking back on it, how easy of a name is Kaldi to get. And Jones, because I thought that it was really indicative of, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. Uh, I liked that idea that she came from this very wealthy upper class family and she found herself in a coffee shop. She found it's funny to me. And so that's really where it started. And that's the direction that the character went in. And I think she really, really did well. And she was taking off. Great. Kaldi isn't based on anyone that I know of. She is someone that I came up with through a long and involved process of character development. And I think she's a great character. I love her. I think she's hilarious. I want to be her friend. Uh, I don't know if she'd want to be my friend, but I'd like to think that she would. Are my blogs real? Yes. That's the easy answer. But all of the blogs that I wrote were really based on how my day at Starbucks went, what kind of customer I had, who I had interacted with, um, and my coworkers, who my coworkers were. One of the characters that I created was the shift lead that Kaldi Jones she never got along with, and that one is probably the one that's based most on an actual person, uh, because I'll be the first to admit, there was a shift lead that I worked with who her and I were just we didn't get along for anything, and I this is gonna sound terrible, and I'm sorry if said shift lead is watching this. I'm not gonna name names, but I'm sorry that I couldn't name you by name because I really think that you are a terrible person. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yes, my blogs are real. Yes, all of them happened. Uh, they they helped me process, like I said. The Ask Caldies, yes, they were real. I did receive a lot of emails from people asking asking really great questions. I will say the first couple of Dear Caldies, no, I take that back. The first Dear Caldi, uh, I believe, was one that I had written, just trying to drum up some more interest, I guess, in the Dear Caldies. But they were all, you know, written by people that I was happy to respond to. I think those were probably some of my favorite blog entries. I think my favorite blog Oh, that's a hard one. I think my favorite blog was probably the open letter to Britney Spears. And I think the reason for that was the blog that really took off. That was the one that got over 1,000 views in one day. And that really solidified my thinking of, wow, this is great. This is a lot of really good material, and people are really responding to this. This is the direction that I need to go in. And it really just affirmed for me that this character that I had created, this privileged, really self absorbed beauty queen, was a really great character, because how ridiculous is it to write an open letter to Britney Spears thinking that she's going to read it? Um, I thought that was just, it was fun, and I think a lot of people responded to it really positively. So for me, that was my favorite blog because it was able to push me more in the direction that I wanted to go in for Kaldi Jones. Who else knew about Kaldi? You know, not many people at all. My boyfriend knew. Um, he, I told him, I guess back in 2012, that this was what I was going to do, and he supported me. He thought that the decision was great. He read my material and he enjoyed it a lot, which is good because he's a comic. He's actually a stand-up comic here in San Antonio. So it was good to um, use him as well as a soundboard to say, okay, is this good? What do you think about this? What if Kaldi said this here? And it was also really cool to bounce Ask Kaldi's off of him, or Dear Kaldi's, because uh, I would get a letter, I would get an email, and I would say, okay, I think this is the direction that Kaldi's going to respond. And he would either say yes, or maybe you should try it like this and tweak it a little bit. And I never listened to him, which I think is perfectly fine. I think the Ask Kaldi's were good, so I'll keep them. Oh yeah, sorry. Who else knew about Kaldi? I think there was one girl that I worked with here in San Antonio that knew who Kaldi was, and it was because the only reason that she knew who I was, or that I was writing the Kaldi Jones blog, was she had come up to me one day on a shift and she said, "Oh my God, Grayson, have you read this blog? It's hilarious. I think you would love it." And I looked at it and I couldn't contain my sense of pride. And I know that that's terrible to say, but pride really did take over. And I said, "Oh, I have read them. Thank you for liking them." And thankfully, she is one that I would trust implicitly with anything. And she never revealed who I was to management or my DM or any other partners. So the book, that's a good question. The book, it's difficult for me to say where the book is going to go now. And I think the reason for that is because I don't work for Starbucks anymore. I haven't worked for Starbucks for, I guess, about 2 years now, and I couldn't be happier. I was using the the blog and the Twitter as a means to, sort of deal with the stresses on a daily basis, and the book was a really great way to take what I was writing in the blogs and move them into long prose uh, in a book form. And now that I don't work for Starbucks anymore, part of me feels really, I don't know, I guess false, maybe is the right word. False that I'm writing about something that I no longer am a part of. Um, but I think that one day, maybe, um, Kaldi Jones might make she might make a reappearance in the literary world if the time is right. And I know that I've got notebooks and notebooks, and I have about 100 pages written um, from just the blogs and rough drafts of chapters that I was writing uh, for the book that was loosely titled "The Devil Drinks Lattes," sort of a play on the Devil Wears Prada. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if the book turns into anything. I can't say for sure one way or the other right now. So no, no, I don't have any regrets. Well, I take that back. The one regret that I have is not coming clean with this sooner. I haven't worked, like I said, I haven't worked for Starbucks in about 2 years now, and I know that part of me knows that I should have reached out and made this sort of tell-all video, a year ago, a month after I left the company, on my terms, by the way. I did not get fired. No one in management knew about what I was doing, so cheers to you, DM. Way to go. Hey, Starbucks. But really, I think my regret is that I didn't do this sooner. Um, yeah. My final thoughts. This is going to be difficult, I think. My final thoughts on this are I really hope, sincerely, I hope that I've made you laugh. If you've read the Twitter, you've read the blogs, I hope that the words that I put there made you feel better. I hope that if you had a really, really bad day behind the bar, if someone walked off the floor, if your shift wasn't doing anything, if your shift was, in the back room counting money for 30 minutes, if your shift was just a real bitch to you, if a customer yelled at you that day, if you if you're getting flack from your store manager, your DM, or anything, any one of those things, I hope that you were able to come to the blog and find some little piece of happiness somewhere in that, knowing that someone out there understands what you were going through. I hope that in what I was writing, that I was truthful to everyone. I hope that when I say that I started writing this blog and I started tweeting to sort of have peace within myself, I also always said from the beginning that I just want to make people laugh. I just want to have people enjoy something about their job, even if it means hating it for 8 hours and then coming home and reading a blog for 5 minutes and just saying, wow, that was really funny. And then having that in the back of your mind when you go into work the next day, or when you're in the weeds on the bar and you're double barring, and all of a sudden a school bus of kids walk in with nothing but Frappuccino orders. You know that when you get home, there's probably going to be a new blog, or there's going to be some new tweets for you to read that will make it a little bit better. I know that it doesn't make the whole day better or make the whole job better, but I hope that it brings a little bit of lightness to an otherwise pretty stressful day, I think. And I think my final thought is I hope that my readers and those watching this now don't feel as though I have deceived you in any way. I hope that you don't think that I am, a liar, or that I wasn't being truthful in who I was, because obviously I'm not a 5'11" model who lives in New York, who has a therapist named Yolanda who gives aura readings. I hope that you're not feeling hurt or betrayed in any of that. And I hope that you feel somehow more connected with Kaldi Jones now, knowing that um, she's still there and she understands what you go through. And uh, even though I'm an ex-partner, I will never be that customer. So I want to say thank you very much for all of the kind words, all of the views, the retweets, the reblogs, telling your coworkers about who I am. I think that in and of itself is just a great message to me. And so thank you, and good night.